Okay, hello parents of 8th grade science. If you are watching this video, this is in place of the curriculum night where you would come into my room and ask questions. If after this video you do have questions, feel free to contact me via email, which will be the best way to communicate with me this year. Of course, you can always call and leave a message, and when I don't have students, I can try to give you a ring back. First of all, you're also going to get a document that looks like this. That's got the regular information in there, including my email address, as well as a link, and just a kind of a basic description of what's going on in class this year. Even though this is a very different year, I'm going to try to keep this as normal as possible for your students, but of course, it's not going to be normal. One of the things that I do like to do for students and for parents, although by 8th grade, hopefully you don't feel like you have to be involved as much as maybe when your children were younger, and I certainly don't design my class with your involvement in mind, but the resources are there. I want to show you a website that your kids are going to regularly use and access. And if you've had me before, this may look, or if your kids have had me before, this may look familiar. This has a lot of science and math information on it for your students. If they want to go up here to science, I'll go there in a minute. I do have a parent information link up here. From time to time, I will write a blog. I will send you a link, and if you care to read it, which you may not again because your kids are in 8th grade and you're like, hey, I've done this enough. But if you are interested in reading it, you'll be able to go to it under news. It's called Scientifically Speaking, and I'll leave you a link for that as well. But what I try to do for your students is provide a resource for when they're not in class, as well as when they are in class, when I direct them there, which is this website. They can link to it from Schoology, where, of course, all their assignments and all their grades will be housed. But there's a lot of things on here. I'm going to briefly show you what that is. If I pull up the 8th grade pages, you'll see a list of all of the topics that we're going to cover this year. I'm just going to go to forces right now. This website is designed for all kinds of students. It's designed for students, one, who might need a little bit more reinforcement information. So on here are all sorts of links, various levels that provide information that complements what we're doing in class, information that supports assignments that we're doing in class, but it's also there for remediation. There's links to Quizlet. There's all sorts of resources that I provided to your students. For the students who really like science, maybe they're at a different level, maybe they'd like to look at things deeper, there's also a lot of different places for them to go and kind of dig a little bit deeper into the concepts that we're covering in class. On every page, for everything that we're doing, I will also have specific areas that provide additional in-class material. So today, I'm very excited to say, we finally had some kids in class. Wasn't a lot of kids, but we had kids in class, and we started by doing this lab, Gravity Lab, what hits the ground first. Your students pulled that up from this website, and we actually did a lot of that in class together. And again, there's gravity games that have already started, so they'll be working on some of the things on here. Then, in addition to that, again, this is for every topic, and this is constantly changing as whatever happens in class changes. I have lots of other support materials, lots of videos. We don't watch these in class. I mean, I do use videos, but we're not watching most of the ones that are on this site. And they're here for the kids anytime they want additional information or reinforcement information. So there's that. I guess I should have told you about myself too. This is my 17th year in teaching, but as you can tell, I'm pretty old because this is my second career. I spent my first career in tech sales. I have an MBA, I have a BSBA in marketing, and of course later on I got my teaching license. I think my background brings a different perspective to the classroom, and what your students hear me say a lot in science, not as much in math, because the math skills that I taught in 6th, 7th, 8th grade are really foundational skills they'll need hopefully their whole life, but definitely in science is we're going to learn a lot of important concepts this year, but if your kids in 5 years, 5 weeks, 10 years don't remember everything we're talking about in gravity, it's not going to have a tremendous effect on their lives. Things will still fall and hit them on the head due to gravity, but if they don't remember that it's a non-contact force, it's not going to have a huge issue. What I focus on tremendously, in addition to content, are a lot of character issues and skill-based issues, both soft and hard skills that are going to make them successful in the workforce. So I can't really show you now because I'll make you sick if I turn my camera around and try to orient it correctly, but I have some signs in my room that talk about the skills that I really emphasize. These are the skills that I saw in my 13 years in the real world that make people successful. And of course, part of that is, do you communicate well, both verbally and written? Can you analyze information? Can you critically think? Do you project confidence when you are speaking? Okay, are you persistent, adaptive, resilient? We work on all of these things. And as part of that, I've already told the students that are in my room today, and will continue to tell them, that in my classroom, and those of you that had me 2 years ago, your kids had me in math, they know it, you're going to get called on. And it's not because I want to get kids caught, like, are you paying attention? No, it's because I believe that every single person in this room has the ability to succeed and has something important to share. Now, I never try to catch somebody off guard. It's going to be a little bit harder because we're wearing masks, so I can't read everybody's facial expression. But it's more important than ever. If I've only got 6 to 10, 11 kids in a classroom at a time, I can't have 5 of them hiding and hoping never to be called on. So I am going to call on your kids regularly. They are going to have a chance to share. It can be a little bit scary in the beginning, especially because it's been a little bit scary anyway with the kind of world we're living in now. But this is a place that they can make mistakes. Kids who had me 2 years ago know I make mistakes. You're going to know I make mistakes, and that's okay. It's what we do after that. So I do want you to encourage your children to speak up, to get more comfortable in talking, because when we all have something important to share, and I think your students do. I think the bottom line for me, because I don't want to keep it too long, is if you do have questions, if you have concerns, as this year goes on, because this is a very, 8th grade is a very different year anyway for your children. They've grown and matured quite a bit, but this is a very different year, and I'm very concerned about having a positive year for your students, both academically and mentally and socially. So please don't hesitate to contact me with questions or concerns. And this ends a very strange part of a very strange year of curriculum learning on computer. Okay, have a good day. Or as I tell the students, have a horrible day.